Global Marketing Strategy, Mark 7018, Global Distribution, Place, Channels, Lecture 6, Part 2. Control, company-owned sales force. Advantages. Far greater control over sales and marketing effort facilitates formation of closer manufacturer-customer relationships and can be used to identify and exploit new international marketing opportunities. Disadvantages, relatively larger resource commitment, higher exit costs, and increased exposure to unexpected changes in political, social environment of host country. Challenges managing distribution logistics. Logistics is the efficient and cost-effective movement of goods and services between supplier and end users. Two phases: material management, movement of raw materials, parts and supplies into and through the firm. Physical distribution, movement of the firm's finished product to its customers. Distribution logistics require careful management. The failure of distribution logistics could be the make or break of a global marketing strategy. Export procedure steps. We will now discuss the export mode. This diagram illustrates the steps of exporting and the safety steps embedded to protect importer and exporter. 1. The sale. A. Importer makes inquiry for potential supplier. B. Exporter sends catalog and price list. C. Importer requests price quote. D. Exporter sends pro forma invoice. E. Importer sends purchase order. F. Exporter receives purchase order. 2. Importer arranges financing through its bank. 3. Importer's bank sends letter of credit to exporter's bank. 4. Exporter's bank notifies exporter letter of credit has been received. 5. Exporter produces or acquires goods. 6. Exporter arranges transportation and documentation, obtained by exporter or through freight forwarding company. A. Space reserved on ship or aircraft. B. Documents acquired or produced as required. 7. Exporter ships goods to importer. 8. Exporter presents documents to one of the banks for payment. 9. Importer has goods cleared through customs and delivered to its warehouse. Common export documents, transport documents, bill of lading, receipt for the cargo, dock receipt, receipt of cargo by ocean carrier, and insurance certificate, insurance to cover loss of damage to the cargo in transit. Examples of when shipping and exporting goes wrong in distribution. A container filled with millions of Lego pieces fell into the Sea of Cornwall in 1997, but instead of remaining at the bottom of the ocean, they are still washing up on Cornish beaches today, offering an insight into the mysterious world of oceans and tides. It is one of 353,264 plastic daisies dropped into the ocean on 13th of February 1997 when the container ship Tokyo Express was hit by a wave, described by its captain as a once-in-a-100-year phenomenon, tilting the ship 60 degrees one way when 40 degrees back. As a result, 62 containers were lost overboard about 20 miles off Land's End, and one of them was filled with nearly 4.8 million pieces of Lego bound for New York. Customer export documents, banking documents, letter of credit, guarantees payment to the exporter provided terms and conditions are met. Commercial documents, commercial invoice, bill for the products from the exporter to the buyer. Government documents, export declaration includes complete information about the shipment, consular invoice, signed by a consul of the importing country, controls and identifies goods shipped where the certificate of origin certifies the origin of products being exported, so the purchasing country knows where the products produced. Transport options. Road, efficient for short hauls of high-value goods, border controls, time-consuming, some countries, road surfaces poor. Water, very low cost for bulky products such as coal and oil, slow and needs to be combined with other modes of door-to-door delivery. Air, expensive, less than 1% of total volume of international transport, high-value items likely to be shipped by air, especially with high weight-to-volume ratios. Rail, good mode for bulky goods over long distances, high-speed trains in USA and Europe encouraging this mode of transport. Selecting mode of transportation, need to consider and evaluate the following. cost of transport alternatives, distance to location, nature of the product, frequency of shipment, value of shipment, transport availability. Freight forwarders under threat since transport companies have extended their activities to include an in-house forwarding function. Also, larger and more experienced exporters have developed their own in-house transport and documentation expertise. Full-service foreign freight forwarder can relieve the producer of most of the burdens of distribution across borders. Activities and services include coordination of transport services, preparation and processing of international transport documents, provision of warehousing, expert advice. Storage, warehousing, and inventory considerations. Establish inventory to maintain product movement in the delivery pipeline to satisfy demand. Inventory costs must be managed. Exporter needs to consider order cycle time, total time that passes between the placement of an order by a customer and receipt of the goods, customer service levels, the ability to fulfill customer orders within a certain time period. Choice of customer service level has a major impact on required inventories. Storage, warehousing considerations. Goods and materials may require storage in the export market. Warehousing involves assembly, breaking shipments, prepping for customer requirements. Exporter needs to consider where the customers are located, security and theft, temperature conditions of stored goods, the pattern of existing and potential future demands, speed of order fulfillment required. Packaging considerations. Export packaging has evolved from wooden crates, recycled containers back into the distribution channels. Different countries have different regulations about materials. Packaging influences customers' perceptions and satisfaction. Palletization with shrink wrap protection has become largely the norm.